Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to start with our second grammar lesson, present progressive tense. The first thing that we have to talk about is the use of the present progressive tense. When do we use the present progressive tense? Let's read together the following sentences in order to identify the uses of the present progressive tense. The first sentence, the teacher is currently explaining a new lesson to the class. The verb here is explaining, okay? As you can see, we have a helping verb and the main verb, a new lesson to the class. And we use the word currently. Currently means now or at the moment. So from this sentence, we can infer that the first use of the present progressive tense is to express actions that are taking place at the moment of speaking, that are happening at the moment of speaking, now or currently or at the moment. So let's repeat. The teacher is currently explaining a new lesson to the class. I mean that the teacher is now explaining a new lesson to the class. The action is happening now. So the first use of the present progressive tense is to express actions that are happening at the moment of speaking. Let's look at the second example. I am working. Also here, am working is the verb. We have a helping verb and the main verb. Hard in order to improve my fluency in English. This sentence is expressing an action which is happening at present, but not necessarily at the moment of speaking. So this action is happening at the present time, but not necessarily at the moment of speaking. Okay, so he is now at this period of time, during this time, at present, working hard to improve his fluency in English, but this action is not necessarily happening at the moment of speaking. So the second use of the present progressive tense is to express an action taking place at the present time, but not necessarily at the moment of speaking. So it's not necessarily happening at the moment of speaking. This is the difference between the first and the second sentence. In the first sentence, it's expressing an action which is happening at the moment of speaking, but in the second, the verb here or the present progressive tense here is expressing an action which is taking place at present, at the meantime, but not necessarily at the moment of speaking. So these are the first two uses. Now we move to the third use. Let's read the example or the sentence that we have. This weekend, we are visiting my friend at the hospital. If you look at the sentence, you'll find that we used the word, this time expression, this weekend. This weekend is used to show that we already planned for this action. We have already planned to visit our friend at the hospital this weekend. Okay? So, the third use of the present progressive tense is to express a planned future action. Okay? We are visiting our grandmother on Saturday, or this weekend, or this week, by the end of the week. So this action is already planned for. Okay, so the third use of the present progressive tense is to express a planned future action. So the three uses of the present progressive tense are: number one, to express an action, as we said, that's taking place at the moment of speaking. Like, for example, I am having a lunch now, my brother is swimming Okay, at the moment of speaking. The second use is to express an action that is taking place at present, but not necessarily at the moment of speaking, like I am learning Spanish. Okay, so I'm not learning Spanish now, but I'm learning Spanish at this period of time at present. The last use, as we said, is to express a planned future action, which means an action that you have already planned to do on a certain period of time. The verb to be, as we said, is either am, is, and are. So the verb to be is either am, is, or are, based on the adjective that we based on the subject that we are using. Okay, so as we said, the verb to be is either am, is, or are. So the helping verb is always with the main verb in the present progressive tense. So the form of the present progressive tense is the verb to be plus the main verb plus ing. And we said that the verb to be are am, is, and are. Okay, if I'm using I am cooking in the kitchen. She or he is cooking in the kitchen. They are cooking in the kitchen. So based on the subject. If the subject is a singular subject, we use is. And if it's a plural subject, we use are. And of course, plus the main verb and then ing. Let's look at the examples that we have here. She is cooking in the kitchen. So is the helping verb or the verb to be. Okay, is the verb to be. Why did I use is here? Because she is a singular subject, it's a singular pronoun, and it's so because she is singular, we used is, not are. Okay, the main verb is cook. Cook is the main verb plus ing. So this is the first way. Is plus cook plus ing is cooking. So this is the first form of the present progressive tense. Let's move to the second example. They are playing football. They is a plural pronoun, right? Because it's plural, we have to use the verb to be are plus the main verb play, and then we add ing. So they are playing. Let's look at the last example. He is going to the gym. He is also a singular pronoun. Is the helping verb. Go is the main verb, and ing is added to the main verb. So let's repeat. The present progressive tense is formed with a subject plus verb to be am, is, or are plus the main verb plus ing. Am is used when I'm talking about myself. I'm using I, so I am cooking in the kitchen. Is used for the singular subjects, and are is used for plural subjects. Now we move to something very important, which is the expressions or the adverbs of frequency, the time expressions used in the present progressive tense. As we said, the present progressive tense expresses actions happening at the moment or taking place at the moment of speaking, actions which are happening at present but not necessarily at the moment of speaking, and they also express future planned actions. Now, if I am talking about actions happening at the moment, it means I have to find the time expressions in order to know which tense is used. These are some examples of the time expressions used in the present progressive tense, such as at the moment, now, at present, tonight, at night, nowadays, and so on. So these are some of the examples. Let's some of the time expressions. Let's look at the examples. We are going to my friend's birthday party tonight. Okay, so this is the time expression tonight, which shows that this action is a future planned action. We are going to our friend's party tonight. Okay, so also here tonight shows that this action is a future planned action. We can say, for example, the teacher is explaining a grammar lesson now. My friend is at the hospital at present. Okay, nowadays you cannot go outside without wearing a mask. So this action is happening at present, but not happening at the moment of speaking. So as we said, these are called time expressions used in the present progressive tense. These show you that the actions are happening at a certain period of time. These show you that this action is happening at present or at the moment of speaking or a future planned action, and so on. Now we move to something very important, and you have to concentrate here because we are going to talk about the spelling rules in the present continuous tense, and this is very important. Okay, I am going to start with all the rules one by one. Okay, explain them one by one in order to know all of these spelling rules. Let's start first with verbs that end with E. Verbs that end with E, like make, write, and drive. Of course, there are a lot of verbs, many verbs that end with E, but I'm just giving you some examples. Make ends with E, write ends with E, drive ends with E. If you look at the verb making, at the verb writing, and at the verb driving, you can see that we added ing to the three of these verbs, but we did a certain change. What is the change that we did? The change that we did here is that we dropped the E. So the change that we did here is that we dropped the E. We dropped the E, so we cancelled or we crossed or we dropped the E, and we added ing. Okay, so as you can see here, verbs that end with a silent E, we usually drop the E and add ing, like make, making, write, writing, and drive, driving. So the first spelling rule is the verbs that end with a silent E, we usually drop the E and add ing. This is the first spelling rule. Okay? Let's move to the second rule, to the verbs that end with double E. See the difference here? The verbs that end with E, a silent E, the E is dropped and we add ing. While the verbs that end with a double E, so the verbs that end with double E, we do not make any changes to the verb, we just add ing. Let's see the examples that we have, like agree and see. Both end with double E, and as you can see, we didn't do any change to the verb, we just added ing. So let's repeat the two rules that we have explained till now are the rules of the verbs that end with E and the rules of the verbs that end with double E. So we said if the verb ends with a silent E, we drop the E and add ing. And the second rule is the verbs that end with double E. Concerning the verbs that end with double E, we do not make any change to the verb. We just add ing, like agree and see. We just add ing. Now we move to rule number 3, and this rule is about the verbs that end with a consonant preceded by a vowel, like hit, let, put, run. All of these are verbs that end with a consonant preceded by a vowel or a consonant, vowel, consonant, verb. Like hit, we have a consonant, vowel, consonant, letters. Let, consonant, vowel, consonant. Put, consonant, vowel, consonant. Run, consonant, vowel, consonant. Sit, also consonant, vowel, consonant. So these verbs, I mean the CVC, these are called CVC verbs, okay? These verbs, the ones that let me erase this scratch and write CVC again in order to remember the name of these verbs. So the CVC verbs, the consonant, vowel, consonant verbs, the rule says we have to double the final consonant and then add ing. Like hit, we doubled the T and then we added ing. Let, we doubled the T. Put, we doubled the T. Run, we doubled the N. Sit, we doubled the T. So the third rule says that the consonant, vowel, consonant verbs, in order to change them to the present continuous tense, we have to double the final consonant and then add ing. So let's repeat the rules from the beginning. The first rule says that the verbs that end with E, we should drop the E and add ing, like make, write, and drive. We have to drop the E, the silent E, at the end of the word and add ing. Verbs ending with double E, we do not make any change to the verbs, we just add ing. And concerning the verbs that are consonant, vowel, consonant verbs, the rule says that we have to double the final consonant and then add ing. Now we move to the fourth rule, rule number 4. This rule is about the words that have 2 syllables or the 2-syllable verbs. If the word have 2 syllables, the rule says that we have to double the last syllable and then add ing, okay? So if a word have 2 syllables, the last consonant is doubled and then we add ing, like forget, 2 syllable, prefer, 2 syllables, upset, 2 syllables. So we have to double the final consonant, like here we doubled the T, here we doubled the R in preferring, and upsetting we doubled the T. So these are 2-syllable words: forget, prefer, upset. These are 2-syllable words. So the rule says that when a word has 2 syllables, we have, or a verb has 2 syllables, we have to double the final syllable, the last consonant of the word, and then add ing. So these were the first 4 spelling rules. I'll repeat them briefly because these are very important. You have to focus on them. Verbs that end with E, we have to drop the E and add ing. Verbs that end with double E, do not make any change, just add ing. Consonant, vowel, consonant verbs, we have to double the last consonant and then add ing. Two-syllable verbs, also we have to double the last consonant and then add ing. Now we move to another group of rules. Now we are going to start with the rule of the verbs that end with ie, like lie, tie, die, okay? These are verbs that end with ie. Now, what does the rule say? The rules say here that when the verb ends with ie, I drop the ie and add y instead, and then I add in and g, like lie, lying. So instead of ie, I put y and add ing. So verbs that end with ie, the rule says drop the ie and substitute ie by y, put y instead of ie, and add ing, like lie, lying, tie, tying. Now we move to verbs ended with c, like the verb picnic. Look at the rule here. What can you see? What's the difference here? This is the root form of the verb picnic. So what did I add? I added k and then I added ing. So the rule says when a verb ends with the letter C, you have to add k and then ing, like the verb picnic, okay? So I'll repeat the two rules. When a verb ends with ie, you have to drop the ie, add y, and then ing, like the verb lie, or die, or tie. Concerning verbs that end with c, you have to add k to the verb, and then ing, like the verb picnic. Now we move to the verbs that end with y, like the verb carry, or enjoy, or hurry, okay? There's a very important point I want to focus on here. Let's look at the verb carry and at the verb enjoy. As you can see, here the y is preceded by a consonant letter, and in enjoy, the y is preceded with a vowel letter. In the present continuous tense, there is no difference, okay? If the y is preceded by a consonant or by a letter, by a vowel. So whenever a verb ends with y, you just add ing, like carry, carrying, enjoy, enjoying, hurry, hurrying, okay? So the rule says that verbs that end with y, you just add ing. So I'll repeat the three rules that we have explained till now. Verbs that end with ie, you drop the ie, add y, and then ing. Verbs that end with c, add k, and then ing. Verbs that end with y, preceded by a consonant or by a vowel, you just add ing. Now we move to some of the exceptions, like age, aging, die, dying, okay? These verbs like budget, enter, okay? All of these verbs are exceptions, so you just add ing. Of course, you have to keep these verbs in your mind because they are very important, these ones, so that you always remember that these are exceptions. Now we move to something very important concerning stative verbs. Okay? Some verbs are called stative verbs. This means that they cannot be written in progressive form. I mean in ing form, because these verbs express emotions or a mental state or senses or possessions. Okay, so we cannot use these verbs in the progressive form. I mean, we cannot use this verb with ing. Some of these verbs, stative verbs, include describing a mental state. These stative verbs describe a mental state. Let's start with the first kind, a mental state like know, recognize, believe, think, remember, imagine, understand, realize. All of these verbs are mental verbs, okay? And we cannot say I am believing, he is remembering, she is forgetting, they are imagining, okay? These verbs are used as base form verbs. We cannot use them in the progressive form. Other than that, we have emotional state, describing an emotional state, everything related to emotions, to feelings like, hate, admire, adore, desire, hope, fear. I do not say I am liking, I am loving, they are hating, okay? These verbs also are used as base form verbs. We cannot use them in the progressive form, and this is a rule, so you have to follow, it's a must. Verbs of senses like smell, taste, hear, see, and feel. I cannot say I am smelling, I am hearing, I am tasting, okay? I taste, I smell, I see, I feel, I hear. These are called verbs of senses. So these also should be used only in the base form. Now we move to the verbs of possession, like we cannot say I am having, I am owning, I am belonging, I am possessing, okay? I have, I own, I belong. These are called verbs of possession, okay? So these stative verbs describe a state in which no obvious action takes place. You cannot see the action, okay, which is happening. That's why we cannot use these verbs in the progressive form, I mean ing form. I moved here to something very important concerning the verb have. Please pay attention here. This is very important. The verb have is only used in the simple tenses when it means possess. What do you mean possess? I mean like having something. I have 2 cars. I have a red bag. Okay. I have 2 mobile phones. So I use it in the simple tenses, يعني base form, when it means possess, when it means when it is working as a verb of possession. Okay. Otherwise, it is used in the continuous tenses if you are having something. She is having lunch. He is having a bath now. They are having breakfast together. Okay? So only the verb have is an exception. You can use it in the simple tense when it means possession, and you can use it in the continuous tense in any other way. So have is used only when it means possession in the simple tenses. Otherwise, you can use it in the continuous tense also. Now we move to the questions in negative forms. This is very easy. You just have to get used to it and practice as much as you can. Let's see the examples that we have. First of all, let me tell you something, that we have something called affirmative, which is the positive sentence. Negative, which is the opposite, or let's say opposite of the affirmative. So this is the negative, and we have something called interrogative, in which we ask a question. Let's see the examples. I am playing football. I am not playing football. So in the negative form, we always use not. Now, what is the helping verb here? The helping verb, or the verb to be here, is am. So I start my question with am. Am I playing football? In the second example, he is playing football. He is not or isn't playing football. I start my question with the verb to be. Is he playing football? They are playing football. Are is the helping verb. They aren't or are not playing football, and I always start my question with the helping verb. Are they playing football? Okay, and you never ever forget the question mark at the end of the interrogative sentence, because this shows that it is an interrogative sentence. And never forget the full stop at the end of the negative and affirmative sentences also. So the affirmative is the positive form, the negative is the opposite of affirmative, the negative, and interrogative is the question. You always use not in negative, and you always start the question with the helping verb. Let's now start with the practice exercise. Of course, this is a part of the first exercise in the worksheet. You are going to continue the rest of the exercises in the worksheet. Put the verbs between brackets into the simple present or present continuous tense. Let's see. Today, the second day of my trek around Mount Annapurna. Okay, today is. So here I'm using the simple present. I am exhausted and my legs are shaking, because this is happening at the moment. I am exhausted and my legs are shaking. I just hope I am able to complete the trek. My feet, me, and my toes bleed. So he is telling us also about what's happening at the moment, what he's feeling at the present time. So my feet are really killing me and my toes are bleeding, but I still want to continue. Nepal is a fascinating country, but I have a great deal to learn. Everything is, because this is talking about a fact maybe, or a certain opinion. Everything is so different, and I am trying to adapt to the new way of life here. I learn a little bit of the language to make communication easier. So at present, okay, it's not happening at the moment of speaking, but at present, at the meantime, I am learning a little bit of the language to make communication easier. Unfortunately, I am not learning foreign languages quickly, although I don't understand much yet. I believe that I am improving gradually, okay, or I am gradually improving. So this was the exercise. You are going to solve the rest of the exercises in the worksheet. You have to continue this exercise and other exercises, because this exercise have another part, okay? And of course, we will explain everything, and I will answer all of your questions. And if you need any explanation to any of the ideas that I have explained during the Zoom live session. And here in the, as you can see, the answers is are shaking, are really killing, are bleeding. We answered them orally. Still won't, is, I'm trying, I'm learning, I'm not learning, don't understand. Okay? And the last one, I'm improving gradually. Okay? This was everything. Thank you for watching. See you during the Zoom live session.